evening, folks, and welcome to a very special edition of Garbage Theater. We decided to throw a Chestnuts Roasting on a dumpster fire special in here to add some levity to this current situation in the world with the quarantine. This was not the movie I thought it was going to be.
What the fuck, Chase?
So now look at this. Look at this goofy-ass movie about karate and Christmas and Eric Roberts. This'll be just a laugh a minute. Whew.
I was expecting more of so sappy it couldn't make it to Hallmark.
Yeah.
But what it turned out to be just this balls-out offensive fucking movie. That even I sat there and said, this is a little insensitive.
More than a little. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's more about a child who seems incapable of processing his trauma.
I'll tell you what. This kid wins he takes the award for wieneriest kid from Field Freak. Goes to this kid.
Oh my God!
Absolutely, it does.
It feels like this was the origin of this movie is just a cheaper version of Tammy and the T-Rex, and instead of an animatronic dinosaur, someone got a drone for his birthday. And says, "I gotta make a movie with this fucking thing."
I was gonna say, one thing you could say for him is they had a drone.
Every establishing shot and secondary establishing shot, drone.
Oh my God. And they didn't really have a skilled pilot for that thing.
No. It sweeps in and then stops and then pans and then sweeps in a little bit more.
It's
not a crane.
Eric Roberts brought it to set. And they were like, can we use that? And he's like, I don't give a shit.
Eric Roberts didn't spend a goddamn second on set.
Not for this movie, he didn't.
No.
And I'll explain that later.
I am still convinced that everything with Eric Roberts and what's his name from Cobra Kai was from a different movie.
Oh, it definitely had a Godfrey Ho feeling to it.
I'll say it now. It is.
Jesus Christ.
Of course it is. Of fucking course it is.
It's from a movie. It's from a movie that the same writer wrote and produced called Joker's Wild, also known as Joker's Poltergeist, also known as American Poltergeist something the Joker. It's here, I'll read you the synopsis for that movie real quick.
You might want to save it because it's definitely my next pick. No, go ahead.
Inspired by the true story movie theater massacre in Aurora, Colorado. Joker's Wild is a terrifically frightening horror psychological thriller which transforms into the world of supernatural hell. After a clown-masked assailant guns down Aurora Palace's friends and family, the resilient theater owner fights to reopen her business. Formidable foes in the form of politicians and anti-gun activists seek to stop her, but they are the least of her concern as some from the beyond intend to eliminate more than just a theater business. Tackling Second Amendment rights head-on, Joker's Wild has a powerful twist ending.
I'm definitely picking it.
Okay, just the fact that you've cemented that all of that shit was a separate movie has just further confused me.
Yeah.
As to what the fuck was happening in this thing.
It was never intended to make sense, it seems.
Oh my God, I have a headache
They just
already.
copy and pasted some bullshit from a movie from 3 years earlier into it.
But, okay, so the only thing you added was this wiener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
And
oh my God. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start with the questions that I have about this.
Yeah, I got the impression right away that it was some kind of, there was something going on where it was some kind of right-wing shit, It was like a right-wing production company or like a Christian one or something. So I started to like investigate and found out that the real star of this show is the writer Kenneth Del Vecchio. So yeah, he's like a right-wing lunatic. He's like a completely delusional egomaniac. He like makes all these anti-abortion movies and
Jesus Christ, what the fuck did I pick?
Dude,
I don't know. Why have you done this?
Wasn't it one of your movies, or it was one of John's movies, where one of the actors was firebombing abortion clinics?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this guy is from Hoboken. That guy was from New Jersey. This guy's from New Jersey.
Oh, they know each other.
They definitely know each other. They've been at the same like Hoboken Film Festival. I guarantee it.
It's called the Karate Christmas Miracle. How could this have gone wrong? This is exactly the kind of shit we should be watching.
Well, it starts to go wrong with the fucking karate, but I'll get into that later.
What did I do?
I don't know. Dude, he made a movie called it's called OBAM Nude. So the first 4 letters of Obama's name, Nude. And it stars him, Kenneth Del Vecchio, as the Obama like character. He's a white man, by the way, who like makes a deal with Satan.
Oh, I'm definitely going through this guy's shit. We're gonna watch
madness.
More movies for him.
Okay, he has his own like sizzle reel that he put together, where he calls himself like Judge Kenny D. He's a judge also. The video opens and closes with the theme song from Terminator.
Shut up.
I swear to God. Oh, it's crazy, dude.
Wait, the theme song for, as in the dun 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 dun, like that?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
yes.
Come on.
I love this guy.
Oh my God.
Not for his views, but for how batshit crazy he is.
I'm reeling at all of this. This is so much more than I like.
He's got his own YouTube channel with 4 subscribers.
Wait. Chances are we can talk to this guy.
Oh boy,
probably.
please don't.
Well, definitely John's out for interviewing that guy.
I won't make it. I can't handle it.
Believe me, I'll just talk crazy with him. Like, yeah, coronavirus was set up just because they're trying to launch 5G antennas. You're right.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
You can't do that shit with kids in the school. That's why they let our kids out, so they can launch 5G. Duh. Jesus.
You're right, Judge Kenny D.
This. Oh my God. Talk about judging a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody look up Kenneth Del Vecchio and Justice for All Productions.
Oh my God. The cover of the book had Goodnight Moon, but you open it up and it's Mein Kampf. Oh.
You ever saw that? I don't know if it's a TikTok or something. I don't know. Like some German family, and the kids open up his Christmas present. It's Mein Kampf.
I saw that.
The guy looks at his dad. He's telling his dad, Minecraft.
Holy shit.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay. We gotta get started. Because I'm worried this could be another 2-hour episode. Oh,
There's
man.
nothing to talk about. Every scene is just some lady talking to some other lady.
What do you mean there's nothing to talk about? You know how much there is to unpack in this fucking thing?
Oh man, there's nothing to unpack. None of it makes sense, and it can't. It was never intended to.
Oh. Okay, so here we go. Buckle up, folks. Opening credits. papyrus font already.
Boom.
Off to a
Hit you
bad
with
start.
the papyrus. Jesus Christ.
We
Like, I know shitting on papyrus is like, it's played out, but like, not only is it inappropriate for a Christmas movie, I mean, this shit was made last year. Everybody knows, like, when in doubt, don't use papyrus.
Unless you're James Cameron, you can't pull it off.
You can't do it. They already did that SNL sketch on it. Yeah. Like, it's over. Papyrus is done.
Just let it stick to the Mediterranean cafes and the Hallmark card stores.
Well,
that's the only place you can use it.
You're right. Papyrus is done, but so are half the actors in this thing.
Oh my god! As I was telling Blake and John before the show, I wish there was a way we could give a negative Oscar to a person.
Yeah,
because this Professor Elizabeth, holy shit, going out of her way to be the most off-putting person possible.
They found her outside of a CVS bathroom. She ain't an actor.
Okay, we got sidetracked again. We're still on the opening shot.
Right off the top with the papyrus.
Yeah, papyrus. We pan across a suburban neighborhood decorated for Christmas, and the drone zooms into a house where a woman sets the table for dinner. She calls...
Okay, again, off the top. I never really get a full understanding of the layout of this house, but this very first scene, this lady comes downstairs with a salad.
With food.
With a bowl of salad.
maybe I don't know. I was going to say maybe they eat in the basement, but clearly it's the first floor because we're looking through the window.
Maybe she makes her salad in the shower like Kramer.
It's very efficient. So she calls upstairs to Jesse to come down, but doesn't get an answer. She goes back upstairs to find him in his karate gi, reciting countries and presidents to a photo of his late father. He gets to Nixon, and she corrects him that Nixon wasn't impeached, to which he corrects her that he resigned. Don't contradict me in front of the spirit of my dead dad, you big idiot.
This was my first hint that this was like right-wing nutjob productions, because you had to make sure to correct the record on Nixon real quick.
Well, he did resign, John.
I know it's true, but it's just like, so what?
Oh, man.
So Jesse goes over to a whiteboard and crosses off the fifth day, which is name 20 European countries, list the last 10 presidents in order, and teach self to be a karate black belt. She asks him what he's doing, and he tells her that he's working on his 12 days of Christmas list. Apparently, Dad told him last year that if he did everything on this list, he could have anything he wanted for Christmas. And this year, all he wants is for Dad to come home. Oh, Jesse, you sweet, simple-minded boy.
This dude needs to grow the fuck up.
So, Mom tells him...
How old did they say he was?
He's... did they ever say? I mean, he's got...
They said... Didn't they say he was like 16 or something?
He's... No, he's not 16.
It's got to be like 8 or something, right?
Yeah,
like
he's got to be 8 or 9 tops, yeah. But still, old enough to understand what death is.
Yeah.
And not be thinking he can wish someone back with good deeds. Not even good deeds. The whole list is bullshit stuff.
Well, yeah. Especially the karate part.
It's like, name all the colors of the rainbow. Like, that's a fucking task.
It's all stuff that he could obviously already do. Yeah. He's like naming the presidents. Like, knocked it out. Did that one.
So... Mom tells him that Dad isn't coming back, and she knows that he doesn't understand. But Jesse says he isn't gone. He's just not here. And I know if I do everything on this list, he'll come back. She tells him to just come.
Once again, he got that bitch on a technicality. He's not gone. He's not here.
Gotcha.
She's like, shit, airtight.
She tells him to just come downstairs to dinner because his salad's down there getting cold. He says it's always cold because Dad was a much better cook than you, and shows his mom that he's got a loose tooth, and she freaks out because it wasn't for karate. And he goes, no, he does say that he's like 10, right here.
I think it's 16.
Oh yeah,
He's not 16. He says I'm 10 years old. It just fell out on its own.
Yeah, my skull's falling out of my face the whole day. Like, shut up.
So we then
I'm 10, you idiot.
We then cut to the quote-unquote dojo, where the coronavirus quarantine's in full swing because there's only 2 goddamn kids there.
Yeah.
He's just like out on the street challenging randos to fights.
It's
not a class.
Okay, spoiler alert. Through the whole movie, as he's rising in the ranks, all it is him walloping this poor, one parentless child.
Wallop is a strong word.
It's the same kid over and over again, and it's just him beating this one kid over and over again to get to black belt. And
then this poor bastard, like, this kid's getting a new belt every fucking day, and this one's getting his ass whipped. They ain't getting shit.
Oh, he's skipping belts.
Every time you beat little Davy, you get a new belt.
You've pretty much described modern day karate classes.
God. So, while Jesse trains with the other kid, his mom sits on the sidelines on the phone with a client, and she's in marketing, and she's got this client for a candy company who wants to start a marketing campaign of beaming kids with snowballs that are eating their competitors' candy. That sounds like a sound plan to me. If I saw a commercial with businessmen just driving around humming snowballs at kids not eating their candy, I'd buy the shit out of that candy.
I would.
So she gets off the phone when Jesse finishes beating this other kid, and she asks where his sensei is, as if this warehouse with 4 people makes it difficult to find the person. He points out that his sensei is a she, because mom never pays attention to anything. Let's establish that right now. He tells her that he told his sensei that he needs to go it alone and earn his black belt by himself in 5 days.
But what does that mean? Like,
well, I was confused by that too. Because
don't you need a teacher to learn?
You need a teacher to learn, but he still keeps going to class.
Yeah. But okay.
That's not going it alone.
We're gonna have to jump around because he goes up a rank every day. He gets a new belt.
Mm-hmm.
Is there not a minimum required time for you to train under a belt class before you're able to move up?
Interesting you asked that. Yes, there is. However, if you pay old sensei enough money, you can buy your next belt pretty easy.
See, I was starting to think maybe this was some kind of thing where he's just this simple little child that they decided to just buy him a black belt and pretend that he was rising in the ranks, and that was all going to be revealed later in the movie.
Well, that happens every day in the suburbs of every major city. Yeah,
there's bands of prepubescent black belts roaming the streets. Oh, God.
So let me just say, day one, they're doing karate, but they're on the ground. They're grappling.
Yes.
Now, like I said before we record, I'm no expert, but this is sort of my realm, kind of.
Yeah.
And this grappling, first off, karate isn't about grappling. That you get frowned upon for grappling. But the kid's like trying to do Americanas, which is a arm lock on somebody, and he's not doing it correctly. But the kid's still tapped out. So either what we said his name was, Danny.
Yeah, why not?
Danny's just an all around he's just a little bitch because he's tapping for nothing.
Well, he's the district's punching bag, apparently.
Well, he had no reason to tap from that. There was no pressure on him whatsoever.
He doesn't have parents. He's actually owned by the dojo.
Yeah. He's cheaper than one of those expensive-ass dummies, you know?
Yes. This is true.
Every one of these kids beat Danny or whatever.
So, yeah.
That's how you move up.
He's got to go it alone and earn a black belt by himself in 5 days.
Which, by the way, I forgot. You did ask about minimum requirement. This pissed me off when I looked it up. You want to guess how long it takes you start to finish to get a black belt in karate? Without buying one?
I know it varies from country to country and dojo to dojo, but just standard.
In good old America, the standard, without buying the belt, which most people do, how long do you think it take to go from white to black?
Like a decade?
I'm gonna go on the low end, and I'm gonna say 3 years.
Okay, first, John, you're way off. Decade that's like jujitsu timeline.
Yeah,
a decade is like pretty that's average. 4.5 years. That ain't shit.
Nah.
And there's only like 17 fucking belts in karate. That's probably like 8 or 9. I can't remember. It's a bunch. But then it was pissing me off because I was looking at the guidelines for to rank up as a black belt, and like some of it is like it literally says basic understanding of karate at black belt. Basic understanding of techniques.
Now is this like the kids black belt?
No, sir.
Because I know I used to train jiu-jitsu too, and in jiu-jitsu you've got the colored belts, but that's mainly for the kids.
Yes. And
it goes up until you hit blue, and that's when you're normal, the adult
16,
training.
In jiu-jitsu, at 16, you can get a blue belt, fine.
Yes.
Which is like a real deal belt.
Yes. They use the colored belts mainly as a motivational tool for the kids to keep
It's motivation for children.
Yeah.
But no, you can have a child that's a black belt in karate. Which makes no sense, because if you're a black belt, you should be able to beat my ass.
Yeah, again, going back to Kramer, you don't need karate, you just have to wring his neck.
Yeah.
It's not the size of the opponent, Jerry. It's the tenacity. So, yeah, that
we're going in on the the old martial arts factory we got going here.
Anyway, fisheye warp transition. Eric Roberts on the scene.
I had to make sure that an ad didn't start on the movie.
It's so jarring. So he's sitting in a dark room with some terrified looking girl. Tuesday for Eric Roberts.
That's right.
And he's saying that people will all think this is for greed and hatred, but it's not. It's about getting even. And people will ask why, but they won't understand. And the people that hear about it on the news, they won't understand either. Only the people who come here tonight will understand what it's like to be destroyed by someone you thought was exactly like you. Is he already drunk?
Oh, hell yeah.
What the shit is he talking about?
I have no idea, and I will never understand.
In the theater, a man in a clown mask sits close by, and Eric Roberts says, "Tonight, this town is going to learn what it's like to be afraid." And then we fisheye warp transition through the nether to a newspaper headline: "Mass theater shooting, survivor speaks. Attorney presumed dead. No trace of clown killer after theater shoot up." Whew. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what we're going to parody in this movie. A real ass thing.
Yeah, going after that Aurora theater shooting.
Yeah. And
cool
let's just go and we'll go ahead and say that, the name of the girl is Aurora.
Yeah.
To just be classy as hell about it.
And Eric Roberts was in the Batman trilogy, for which this all spawned from.
He doesn't have an agent to warn him about this shit.
Oh my god. He's been in a bunch of this guy's movies, by the way. He uses the same people over and over again.
He's his De Niro to his Scorsese.
It's like Robert Loggia is his De Niro, but he shows up more. But yeah, Eric Roberts is in a bunch of them.
Robert Loggia. So the girl.
The fuck? No, okay, we have to talk about the transition because it goes from like Hallmark movie lighting to Saw.
Yeah, Saw, exactly.
Yeah. It's very jarring. I mean, you do have to question: is this even from the same movie?
Answer: no.
No, it isn't. And it's like scary. It's kind of scary stuff. If this was supposed to be a family movie,
yeah,
like this stuff, the clown shit is kind of scary for a kid. No kid would watch this.
It's dealing with a mass shooting.
Yeah, this is for nobody. Another movie that is for nobody.
It's for this asshole and Robert Loggia, apparently.
Yeah, it's all because okay. So the spoiler alert: the writer, what's his fucking name? Kenneth Del Vecchio plays the dad.
Okay.
So that's why he's he's an attorney and he's fucking perfect. You know, he's like a great cook and he gives to the poor and all this bullshit.
He's a way better father than his dumbass wife.
Yeah, his wife sucks. He's great.
Okay. So we're presuming the girl was the survivor of the shooting and Jesse's dad's the attorney that was kidnapped and presumed dead.
Mm-hmm.
But considering this is a movie and has nothing to do with this movie, all bets are off. Back home, Jesse awakens from a nightmare and tells his mom about a scary man on a screen. And he didn't understand what he was talking about. He was just over a bowl of milk going... So, she says, don't worry. He tells her that there was also a man in a clown mask with a gun, and Mom wonders how he could have dreamt of that theater because he was never there. And she assures him that it was just a bad dream, and she stays with him as they go back to bed. Later that night, Mom goes into Dad's old office where the whiteboard is to look at Jesse's list. Okay, let's break down this list. First of all, the 12 days of Christmas, there's only 11 days.
I didn't look that close.
They completely missed day 6. It's numbered 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Incredible. Mwah, that's what I'm talking about.
So
that's like garbage theater shit.
So Jesse's fucked from the jump because he's going to miss a whole goddamn day and ruin the spell. Mm. So in order, here's what he has to do. On day 12, name every NFL team and clean every room of the house. Also, train to be a black belt by himself. Day 11, make chocolate chip cookies and say all the times tables through 15 and train to be a black belt all by himself. Day 10, name every MLB MVP from 2000 to present and list 10 U.S. presidents in order. And, you guessed it, train to be a black belt. Okay, so he's just listing off bullshit to do to appease the Christmas gods because he's failing at being a black belt day after day after day.
Also, all these things are just Google searches.
Yeah, the rest of them are recite the lyrics of Jingle Bells, name
Why not just sing Jingle Bells? What do you mean recite the lyrics of Jingle Bells?
Name 25 biblical characters, write Christmas cards to 25 people, name all of the books of the Old Testament, name all of the Supreme Court justices.
This guy's so up his own fucking ass.
Oh my God. Name 20 countries in Europe, the last 10 presidents in order, and then the last 5 days are all solely dedicated to becoming a black belt.
Well, I mean, at that point, you really got to hunker down. You only got 5 days left.
So, while she's in there looking at that, she opens a desk drawer to find all these clippings from the famous periodical, The Gazette, about Dad's kidnapping and the killer clown. So, the next day, we go to some university.
Oh, dude.
And
dear listener, it's about to pop off.
Professor Elizabeth Foghorn Leghorn is passing out papers. And she's saying, I want everybody to think Christmas because I say, I got something for you little critters. And she wonders, I don't know if I can call you critters. Is that one of those words I'm not supposed to use, critters? Oh, I can say that. I can say critters. That's not going to get me in no trouble. God, I hate this woman.
This was my second the second moment where I was like, this is some right-wing stuff. I can tell.
Yep. So she says, how about I call you elves? No, I'm going to call you reindeers, but without the horns, because I don't like horns. They remind me of that devil guy, and he's not very Christmassy. Is this woman just riffing?
Yes. I was done with her immediately.
It's like they pointed the camera at her and said, fill 5 minutes.
This scene goes on for way more than 5 minutes. She offers all her students 5 extra points if they can answer her question. And good luck following the question.
I'm like, what's happening?
She goes on to set up a scenario where you're out at a bar celebrating with your boss, Santa Claus. Remember, you're a reindeer who's currently 3 sheets to the wind, and so are you. You're Rudolph, and you have a tequila shot that blows up your nose, and the explosion from your nose causes a guy to fall off his bar stool. This professor should be stripped of her credentials, and the university should lose all its accreditation. Just shut it down.
At first, when she was calling them critters and reindeer and elves, I was like, is this a kindergarten class or a college?
So she continues that a brawl breaks out in the bar, and that it's fists are flying, and there's surfers and greasers and reindeer, and the scene's never going to end. And Santa clobbers some greaser with a chair before the greaser can hit you with a whiskey bottle. And then she asks the students, is Santa guilty of aggravated assault? And a few hands go up. And then she asks, has Santa committed simple assault? A few more hands go up. And then she finally asks, is Santa guilty of reckless endangerment? To which Jesse bursts into the room, full karate gi, and says Santa's guilty of nothing because he was acting in self-defense of another. Correct, Jesse.
Also, this was nowhere on the Christmas list.
It interrupted school a bunch of college law students.
That was, I guess, day 6 was master criminal law.
Yeah.
So, cut to the professor's office where she's sitting with Mom, whose name is Abby. She tells her that Abby asked her if her husband. She asked Abby if her husband was a lawyer. I'm so fucking gone right now with this shit. She asks Abby if her husband was a lawyer and that she doesn't know. I don't know why you're here, because that's the hazard of those online appointments. You just don't know who, why, or how people make those newfangled internet appointments.
Oh my God! Shut up, lady. She just would not stop.
So Mom asked the professor how she knew her husband was a lawyer. She says, that was just deductive reasoning based on Jesse's answer to their long, drawn-out question. And the professor then says Mom, well, you must be busy with Christmas and Christmas shopping right around the corner, so it's probably time for you to leave. To which Mom asks, how did you know my son's name? Dramatic music. Did we miss a scene here? An entire act here? I don't know what the hell's going on. So Mom goes on to tell the professor that when she was 16, that's where you're getting 16 from, Blake.
Oh, okay.
When she was 16, she went to a psychic fair and got a reading, and the psychic said that she would get married and have a single son, and her husband would go on a journey that would be a major concern to her. And when she pressed the psychic for more information, she refused to go into more detail. And that psychic was you, Professor! Dun, dun, dun!
Right then, the Terminator music should have kicked in.
So the professor says that no one here knows about her psychic past, and she asks how Abby was able to find her. And Abby says that people in her profession say that she's very resourceful, and makes the professor guess what field she's in. That's right, candy bar marketing. Damn. Those damn marketing sleuths sniffing out psychics. So So the professor says that she used to work with the police to help them find missing people, but she was tired of being creeped out by all the dead bodies she found. Oh, they're just so creepy.
Just because they're creepy. Not because it was depressing or anything.
She says that she quit and she paid her way through law school by doing psychic readings and wants to live a happy life as the wacky law professor of the university. So Abby asks her if she knows if her husband is dead or alive, and she gives her the newspaper clippings, and the professor understands why she is sensing clowns now. So Abby pleads with her to help, but the professor just refuses to help. Abby places a pocket knife on her desk. It was her husband's, and the professor senses that it was found in the alley behind the theater, and that her husband Bob was using it in self-defense with karate. Well, that's why he got kidnapped. So, Abby says Jesse's trying to get his black belt by Christmas Eve because he thinks it'll bring Bob back. And the professor says, well, it might.
No, it will not.
No, it won't, but it will. She apologizes and keeps reiterating that she's the wacky law professor. And Abby leaves the knife with the professor and says, I had to go take Jesse to his karate class. He's already on his green belt. Back home, Mom sets the table for pizza dinner, and Jesse comes down and slams a wooden birdhouse on the table. And he says, this is on the list. This is on the list. It isn't. And
it was not on the list.
And that it's all about karate right now, but we can paint this birdhouse later like we used to do with Dad. And yeah, he's just making up easy shit to do. He's just doing shit he wants to do and calling it.
Day 7 is play video games all day. Mom, I have to do this or Dad will never come home.
I'm playing Fortnite till 2:30 in the morning. And if you want Dad to stay dead, then you don't let me do it.
So that night, Jesse's tossing and turning to more nightmares. In the theater, in his nightmare, it's packed with confused people as Eric Roberts is on the screen again talking about how they'll haunt people's dreams and that they won't hate them, they'll become them. And there's a flash of what seems to be a court case playing out in the theater where Bob is there and he's saying that there's no constitutional issue here because people are allowed to carry guns in specific circumstances. Mom rushes into the room and wakes Jesse up. He says that he saw his dad in his dream, that he is alive, and he needs to get that black belt. Jesse says he's tough enough to do it, and he gives a little punch to show Mom that he can do it. So and then, he says he's on to his blue belt now. She tells him that getting a black belt won't bring his dad back, and he's only having these nightmares because she knows he was reading those newspaper clippings. So he asks her, why didn't you tell me exactly what happened to Dad? And you never told me that Dad was in the theater making a constitutional argument about gun law. What?
Yeah, I mean, that tidbit of information has nothing to do with anything that ever happens.
So... And then Mom's freaked out because she's like, that wasn't in the news clippings. How did he know? So, cut to the next day, where Jesse's probably supreme overlord of space karate at this point. Mom sits at the table with a friend, but she's on the phone with her client again, talking about gravy. And she gets off the phone and tells this girl that she can remember when she was in high school living next door. And she's hiring her to babysit Jesse and pick him up from school and take him to karate. Pick him up from school? It's 3 days from Christmas.
Yeah, like...
What school's in session right now?
Law school.
So they discuss Bob's disappearance and how it's affecting Jesse. They go over the list that Jesse concocted, and this all boils down to Abby being a terrible mother, basically, and never spending time with her kid. The girl says that she studied child psychology in college, and that Jesse's doing all these things as a coping mechanism. And she asks what the grief counselor said, and Abby reveals that she never took him to a grief counselor because they're just so busy, and she knows that wouldn't work on Jesse, just hammering that nail of she's just a terrible mother as much as possible. cut to some time later where the babysitter's with Jesse at karate and he's beating the crap out of little Dougie or whatever the fuck we named him.
No, Danny. This is where he's doing a cross collar choke, but his hands are in the wrong placement, so he wouldn't be choking this kid at all. And the kid taps out.
That kid's getting a cut of this money, just so you know.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile...
That's what it is. They say, Danny's the biggest, baddest kid in the dojo. But if you pay us some money, you'll get a belt that'll magically make you be able to beat up Danny.
And then you just sit on his stomach and slap at his face and he taps out.
Yeah. Look how good you're doing. You beat up Danny. Meanwhile, Danny's stacking up the hundreds.
So meanwhile, in Abby's office, she's on the phone with the client again, talking about the joys of applesauce, and that applesauce is the new Jell-O. It isn't. She gets a call from her on her cell, and it says that it's Bob. So she answers, and it's not Bob, but there's someone on the other end, mysterious. So we go back to the college. Oh, sweet Christ, no. Professor Driving Me to Suicide is going over another cockamamie scenario about the Grinch pining to be sodomized in prison.
Yeah. Lonely up on that mountain.
He craves punishment for his actions. I mean, it's all, it's subtext in the original Dr. Seuss, but she's making it text here.
God.
It's all there, though.
Plain as day. She looks down and sees the knife on the table and has a vision of Bob trying to leave the theater when the gun-toting clown gets the drop on him. She dismisses class, which is down to one girl. Good, the students are catching on to this nonsense. And
what's the significance of that, though?
Yeah. That she teaches as hard as possible, even when there's only one student?
It's probably the day before Christmas Eve, and that no one will probably be there anyway, except this one girl.
This one maniac. With no family.
So she sends the girl off and wishes her a Merry Christmas. Later, Abby shows up at a soup kitchen, and she asks the woman there if she's looking for someone, but she gets harangued into serving some needy people who come in. Mm-hmm. For some reason. We cut back home as Jesse's showing the babysitter the birdhouse and asks her if she wants to help him practice his karate. We needed that scene for some reason. We go right back to the soup kitchen. Abby goes up to the man behind the counter and asks him if he's Jay, because she's here to meet Jay. And he gets super aggressive with her. I said, do I look like the letter J? The J's the letter of the alphabet. Do I look like a letter of the alphabet? Blue Jay's a J. Do I look like a bird? Am I blue? Does Marcellus Wallace look like a bitch? Dude.
I said, does Marcellus Wallace look like a bitch?
So,
this guy is wasting her time and mine.
So, he tells her that he bought this kitchen from Jay a year ago. And Abby says, well, I was supposed to meet Jay here. Sorry. And she goes to leave. To which the man says, oh, I'm just joking around. Jay's in the back. He still owns this place. You dick.
No, what an ass.
April Fool's, it's December 28th. Or whatever. Third's better.
Oh, God. So Jay comes out and gives Abby Bob's phone. He says they found it under one of the booths. Bob used to do free legal work for them a long time ago. And whenever he had nothing to do, when he didn't have any legal work to do, he would help serve soup. Because he's just a fucking angel.
How does she not know any of this shit about her husband?
Because she's a terrible person, Blake.
No, you'd know some of this shit.
No, she's a work first mom, and she doesn't have time for her husband or her kid. Because that's
find
this
out more
world we're
about
living
how
in.
he's doing all these other side shits. You'd know about it.
So she gets a call from the professor, who tells her that the knife wasn't used in self-defense. Back home, Jesse goes into a montage.
Okay, so this is a big problem for me. This movie plays out like it's supposed to be a mystery.
Right.
There's no mystery. It's just like this woman trying to parse her random visions and like completely contradicting herself in every scene. And then it resolves at the end. End of movie. Like nothing was figured out.
No.
We don't know what happened to him.
There's no mystery. This guy was off saving the rainforest or some shit for all we know.
Oh my god.
Okay. Anyway, we're jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Back home, Jesse goes into a brilliant montage explaining the belt system of karate. Oh, I can't wait to hear this. He says that a white belt is the beginning, the birth of a seed that's searching for knowledge, and the beginning of life's cycle.
We don't need to hear all the fucking bullshit.
We don't.
We don't need to hear any of it.
But Chase probably wrote it all down.
I have a whole paragraph of this shit.
Fine, read it.
The yellow belt's next, and it symbolizes sunlight, which gives the seed strength. And then the orange
The sun
belt
is weirdly symbolized by like 3 separate belts.
like 8 of the belts is the sun. So the orange belt is the growing power of the sun that warms the earth. The green belt is the growth of the seed as it reaches towards the sun. And the blue belt is the sky that the sun is in and sprouts life from the earth. And the purple belt is the changing of the sky to dawn with the sun. A great advancement as it takes longer to advance through purple belt than all the other previous belts. So 10 minutes as opposed to 2.
Yeah.
The babysitter asks, well, what about all the other belts? Jesse says, look, I'm only up to purple belt, so could you cut a kid a break? That's the joke of the movie, and I don't know why.
Fuck out of my face, lady.
So, rotation fisheye transition. Back with Professor Idiot, who tells us that the remaining... She explains the remaining belts, because of course she knows. That the remaining
She's
belts,
a psychic, Chase.
The remaining belts are red, brown, and black. Thanks, Professor. She's at the dojo with Abby, telling her that the red belt represents the heat of the sun. Wasn't there one that was already the heat of the sun? But it also represents danger, because the fighter that reaches red belt is dangerous, and he must be responsible with his new knowledge. The red belts are crazy. Like, that's why Raphael, he was cool but rude.
They're going to be scared of this kid after this, too. Like, scared of his newfound power. But can I go off on fucking karate yet, or what?
Yes.
Absolutely. Go the fuck off.
Wait a second. Here, you need your theme music.
Yeah.
It sounds like someone's got ants in his pants. It's time for Blake to go off on a rant.
Okay. All this crazy bullshit stuff with karate and meanings, like I get the. I'm gonna try to be nice for a little bit. I get like the cultural significance of karate, but it has no use in the real world now. No. And to guys that under this hocus pocus of sons and seeds and kids being black belts. It's all bullshit. And I did a deep dive. I wasn't going to have a rant at all. I just just going on karate's going to suck and that's going to be it. Until I started digging deeper and reading what karate people had to say about all this. Oh boy. If you got problems with crazy right-wing nuts, you got problems with karate people. They will sit. I read an article that was written 3 weeks ago by a guy. So, like I said in another podcast, after 1991 or whatever with the UFC.
After UFC 1.
Yeah, it's over. Karate does not work in a real fight. Well, this guy was saying that it's still the ultimate martial art. And while people say, well, 90% of the fights go to the ground, that's not true. And someone who knows karate will put you on the ground before that they can put you on the ground. Now, Chase, you've done some jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. that ain't fucking true. Because
not at all.
Because anybody with, I don't know, a couple months of grappling knows how to shoot in and take your legs out from under you.
It's relatively simple to bring a guy down.
Yeah, especially if you're up trying on one leg trying to kick somebody, your ass is going down. And your bones will start getting broken and you will lose consciousness and shit your pants.
You go into that crane. You go into that crane kick pose. You're asking for it.
Oh, dude, you are dead. You're dead as this kid's dad. Now, I think what bothered me was, like I said, doing the deep dive and reading about that shit. But then, like I said, they start like fearing this kid. Like it isn't like overstated, but like there's times where they're like, oh, he's a red belt now, so he's dangerous. The kid's, like I said, he's 16 years old. Who gives a shit? Or was he 8? Can't remember. 10. He's a 10-year-old.
He's 27.
He's not dangerous at all. I mean, we saw the punch he threw in his bed. He's not fucking dangerous. But, like I said, just this bullshitness of this karate is this mysterious art and has all these crazy meanings, and just because you have this color belt that you're able to do these mystical things is bullshit. And 4.5 years to get a black belt, which means you have basic knowledge, makes me furious. 4.5 years in jiu-jitsu means you're maybe halfway. Maybe. Like if you're like dedicated, you're halfway there. And yeah, you know a lot of shit compared to the average Joe, but compared to a black belt, you ain't nothing. Yeah. So all I gotta say is, here's my PSA. If you go to karate school, quit and go do a real man's sport like jiu-jitsu.
Yes. And
quit wasting your money on frivolous fucking belts.
A belt covers 1 inch of your back. The end.
Yeah. Fuck that. And then, I also looked up, because I didn't know. I was like, okay, I've done jiu-jitsu a while, but I've never heard of the belts having meanings. So I looked it up. Do they have meanings? Yeah, like one-word meanings. Like a brown belt is just refinement. Refine your skills. A white belt, which, true enough, like if I strongly suggest everybody do jiu-jitsu as often as you can. A white belt is survival. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's a more apt description.
That's the name of the game as a white belt. Survive. Don't fall asleep and shit your pants.
No. I remember my first time rolling with a brown belt. Holy shit.
Oh my God.
I don't even remember what happened. I was on the ground and in pain.
My first few times rolling with higher belts, this is when you know, your ego goes away. First off, like within a few minutes, your ego's gone, because you're rolling around with guys who are like way older than you, way smaller than and they have you pinned on the ground, and they're saying, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, he's sitting there telling me how to beat him, and I can't do it.
Yeah, why is your hand there? Because it's the only place I can put it. I don't know. I'm panicking.
Roll to your side and get out from under me. I can't. You're literally crushing me right now.
Yeah. Or like, does this feel like a lot of pressure? Yeah, it's pretty good. Hey, let me show you this knee on belly real quick. There goes your spaghetti. Meanwhile, they're breaking fucking fake boards in karate and giving kids these unattainable fucking goals of like become a master, and they're gonna go out in the real world, which that happened as a kid. Like, I didn't even know jiu-jitsu as a kid, but I got in little fist fights with kids that were like red belts in karate, and I beat the fuck out of them. Because they had this false sense of confidence. Instead of stripping the ego, they built it up to where it was useless.
You mean none of them were able to get in a quick strike to your forehead and liquefy your brain like a watermelon?
Nobody did the Denmark to me.
Man.
No. Well, anyway,
this has been Blake Criticizes Karate.
Yeah.
All that just to say, everybody should do jujitsu. Everybody.
So I've been doing some research while you've been going off.
Good.
And I found, this says more about the movie, I think, than anything. But so I found a website called Karate by Jesse, which happens to be the kid's name.
Is it him? It would be amazing if it was him.
It's not him. It's some kid named Jesse Enkamp, the karate nerd.
That's the guy that wrote the thing about what I said about the ground fighting. That's him.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I read it. He's the one that was like, oh no, we put you to the ground first.
Yeah, so he's got a description of what the belts mean, and it's verbatim what this kid says.
Oh, so they just looked it up, and that was the first one that came up.
Yes.
They did as much research for this movie as we did.
As I just did just now.
Amazing.
And then they named the character after him.
Jesus Christ. They did. Oh my God, they did.
Oh my God, that's what happened. Somebody should write Jesse. He needs his motherfucking movie check.
Yeah, he needs to get in there and get his money. Because Kenneth Delvecchio's out here ripping him off. The kid's also played by Delvecchio's son.
Well, I am going to write a letter. Like, dear Jesse, while your whole life is bullshit, let me make you aware of a check that you wrote.
Oh God! Okay,
so many layers in this movie, dude.
I'm telling you,
so much going on.
So yeah, the red belt's dangerous and must be responsible with his new knowledge. The brown belt represents bullshit, which is what this movie is. She says that it's the ripening of the seed, and the brown belt is the longest transition, and the black belt is greatness and profound knowledge to be passed on to others. She tells Abby that Bob was holding the knife, but he didn't even know that he had it on him. And Abby's understandably confused. And she tells her that her psychic visions aren't 20/20. It's like nearsightedness. No, it's like bifocals.
Somebody stop her.
Just say they're not accurate and move on.
She says she was wrong about the vision, and Bob was using the knife to teach women self-defense at this dojo because he was a black belt, and no one knew. Because
they showed the women's self-defense class. Once again, all grappling.
Yeah. I don't know. So,
and then okay, I know I probably should have said it, but I forgot. This guy was a black belt and didn't tell somebody? Oh, no. That's like a vegan not talking about it.
Right.
If you're a black belt in karate, you make sure everybody fucking knows about it.
Yeah, I do CrossFit. I'm doing keto right now. I'm a black belt.
Yeah.
These are all the same family.
Staring down an animatronic T-Rex, I'm a black belt.
She would know it because I guarantee you he emerged from the closet wearing that gi a few times. Like, this happening or not?
Oh man! So yeah, once again, he's a wonderful person who just does all these wonderful things. So the woman, we get another flash of the theater, and the woman from the visions is sitting alone. She's watching a screen. It's a man in a clown mask who is revealed to be, what's his name, the Cobra Kai sensei. And his name in this is Graham Palace, owner of the Palace Theater chain. And
I still can't believe her name's Aurora.
No.
For fuck's sake.
This particular theater is their crown jewel, and since it's his daughter Aurora's birthday, he's going to give it to her as a gift, and he wishes her happy birthday and says that she's got big plans for this place. He puts the clown mask back on and tells her that he loves her and that he'll be watching, and starts laughing like a lunatic. She starts crying with joy, and we cut to, I don't fucking know what. A bunch of random people with all kinds of crazy, like, paisley filters behind them. And they're telling Jesse to tell his mother, but then to not speak of it again and to not speak again until Christmas Day when he earns his black belt, and it's just trippy as shit, and I'm thoroughly confused. Jesse wakes up from another nightmare. He tells his mom about Aurora Palace, when she got in the theater on Christmas Day last year when the shooting happened. It was her birthday, and it was his birthday. And Abby says, it wasn't your dad's birthday on Christmas, and Jesse says, no. That's not who I was talking about.
Who was he talking about?
Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, probably was. Probably was.
Yeah, I thought this movie was taking a turn into something, but it didn't. Thankfully,
I was just hoping he'd make good on not talking again.
So he says that
but,
his dad.
What does that scene have to do with the shooting? Why was there a shooting? Why
does 30% of
know about this transfer of power in the theater industry?
What does 35% of this movie have to do with anything?
It's completely baffled, dude.
It gets worse. It gets so much worse. So he says that his dad has a present for him, but he's got to earn his black belt first. So he says that he has to remain completely silent from now until Christmas Day and focus solely on getting his black belt. So silence starting now. Later,
and see, that's something a karate thing. Like only somebody doing karate would be like, I have to remain silent so I can attain my black belt. Well, how the fuck are you gonna learn, Captain? You need to ask questions. You might want to say, how many of the bullshit boards do I have to break?
Again, going back to Kramer, Jerry, 90% of communication is nonverbal.
They got it all figured out, don't they?
So, later, Abby meets with the professor for a drink. She was just too busy to notice that her husband was a black belt in karate, and the professor says that Abby is a very successful businesswoman, but an average mother. And she goes on to say how spoiled and privileged Abby was growing up, and how Bob had to work hard for everything he had. The professor gets another flash of Eric Roberts talking nonsense on the screen of the theater, and the people in the theater are watching, and they're worried and confused.
So who's the bad guy? Is it Eric Roberts or is it Cobra Kai?
Neither, apparently, considering that was all a movie. Okay. Let's break it down. Okay, the Wiener Kid is the main movie.
Right.
He's having visions of this event that happened in this movie of this theater shooting. Yep. Within that theater shooting, there's another movie being played, which is the movie that was playing when the shooting happened, which is Eric Roberts. Correct.
Oh.
So Eric Roberts has literally nothing to do with anything.
Well, really, this movie didn't need any of that because the kid's just trying to learn karate to get his dad back.
Yeah,
that's what you think. That's what you think was going on.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I think so. That makes sense to me.
I mean, then Eric Roberts' movie's got to be the worst movie of all time. It's just one shot of him sitting at a desk for 40, an hour and a half.
The whole movie, John.
The information he's conveying is meaningless. It doesn't connect with anything. Now this
all just him acting.
This is all about to get muddied when Jesse has a vision where he's talking to Cobra Kai guy, and it launches this movie into another stratosphere of insanity that I don't even fucking know. But as far as Eric Roberts is concerned, I'm convinced that was just the movie that was playing in the theater when the shooting happened.
Okay, got it.
So,
I want to gloat real quick that I totally called that it was just going to be Eric Roberts in a single room for his entire part.
You're right.
It was. He didn't even have, and technically, he didn't even have to act for this movie. It was all reused footage.
Yeah.
That was,
Still got that check,
was a
though,
nice
probably.
little. That was a nice little $14 check that came his way that he wasn't expecting.
Yep.
Man, that's like selling stock art, you know?
Yeah.
Keep getting paid for that same piece over and over again.
So the professor says that she keeps getting visions of the clown, James Whitmore. And she asks Abby why Bob was even there. And Abby says that he was there for an event that Aurora, the daughter, was putting on in the theater. First, there was going to be a small meeting and then a big party. And Bob was making a speech about constitutional rights at the beginning. And then there was going to be the big...
Get this fucking party started right, dude. Get them constitutional rights.
And then after that, they were going to have a big party where all the men were going to be dressed as clowns and the women were all going to be in extreme makeup. Whatever the fuck that means. And that's how the shooter was able to blend in and slip in. It was like Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse. So Jesse, back home, is having another nightmare of Aurora being surrounded by men in clown masks. And he wakes up, and the babysitter runs in.
For some reason, it said Brazzers at the bottom of the screen.
So Jesse wakes up and gives the babysitter the clippings of the newspaper. Abby gets home and calls for Sarah, the babysitter. They sit, and Abby wonders why Bob had to go to that horror movie screening and make a big speech about gun laws. Yeah, we're all wondering that. She didn't know that he was a karate man or a homeless helper. She's drunk off her ass, by the way. She questions if she was a bad wife. This is another scene that just won't stop. Abby and Sarah prattle on and on and on and on about nothing. And Abby says that all she wants is Bob back, and she bursts into tears. So, okay, here it is. Here's the scene that I don't know what it is. We flash to Graham Palace, seemingly reading dialogue from the screenplay of this movie with his wife, like poolside. He gets a phone call during doing this, and it's Jesse. And Jesse's sitting on his bed in his fucking Transformer PJs, and he's talking to Graham, saying that his dad didn't kill anyone, and that Graham is wrong. And Jesse says that his loyalty is with his father only. And he asks Graham to give him a private lesson, to which Graham says, well, that's the only kind of lesson I do now. And Jesse says that Graham left his daughter Aurora after he gave her that theater, but he knows he didn't do it on purpose, and that he's in a beautiful place now. Graham asks Jesse, so how's New Jersey? And Jesse says, it's not warm like where you are. It's cold and scary. And Aurora knows where he is, but Jesse doesn't know where Dad is. So Graham tells him to focus and streamline it. And Jesse says James Whitmore was the security officer at my school and at your theater. And he says that Aurora and I have a bond, and he wonders why Whitmore wanted to take their fathers from them. What is this scene?
Who is this? The first time they mentioned this Whitmore character's name?
It's the clown is Whitmore.
The clown is Whitmore.
Yes.
Okay.
Because,
He's the shooter.
Yes.
Okay. For some reason, I was operating under the idea that Eric Roberts was Whitmore.
I thought that at first.
That's what I thought.
Okay. Oh my God.
What is this?
I don't know. I
Why
don't
is he
know.
talking to him? Like he's telling him
How did he get
all
this
these things
number?
like he's talking to him like Cobra Kai is talking to Jesse like he knows him. He's telling him to focus and streamline it. It's almost as if Jesse is like some kind of MK Ultra sleeper agent.
Oh, again with the MK Ultra.
Like I expect him to start speaking with a Russian accent, and he was gonna he's there to slip in and take over the town or some shit. I don't know what this was supposed to be setting up. I'm exhausted at this point.
Yeah, like it's not like things are starting to line up in any way that's, that you would expect from a mystery. It's just more questions, piling on the questions, and things that can't or shouldn't be happening are happening.
It's the last season of Lost.
Yeah, you're just like, huh?
So Jesse wakes up from the nightmare. Later, Abby's back at her office, and she sets up a photo of Bob, and her boss comes in and tells her to get ready for that big applesauce meeting, because there's a big bonus writing on this.
Get that off your desk.
So the professor shows up and dumps a bunch of Christmas crap on her desk. She tells her that she had another vision, and she says that she saw where Bob would be this morning. And Abby says that she made a mistake going to Elizabeth for all of this. She knows Bob's not coming back, and she shouldn't be buying into all this nonsense. So she says that she has to go to this meeting and leaves. Elizabeth follows her and asks her if she wants to know why she really left the police force. And she tells Abby that she foresaw her fiance's death, and she saw if she married him, he would die. So she broke it off with him to save his life. Why she left the police force over that, I don't know. She doesn't know if it worked because he completely broke off all contact with her after she left him. So she tries to make Abby see that she's losing her son and that maybe she is the Christmas spirits to Abby's Scrooge and that she needs to listen to her. So they go to
real quick, this just in. Eric Roberts on IMDb is credited as James Whitmore.
Oh my God, no. John, we had it all cleared up.
No, we didn't. It's impossible to clear up. It's like that. It's that math question, like for a proof, where you have to put not enough information. Answer is D. It's impossible to solve.
I'm gonna start crying. Oh my God. Okay, we can deal with this. So Elizabeth takes Abby to where she saw Bob in her vision, outside of her college. They go to a gazebo, and Elizabeth knows Bob was definitely there. She says that she's tired from something. It's the day before the shooting. She senses Bob's feeling of pride and accomplishment. He must have unlocked some characters on Battlefront 2. He wanted to tell Abby when she got home about all the good things that he's done, but she's always late because of work, and she's never got time for him.
It's like, man, you should see how dope General Grievous is in this motherfucker.
So Elizabeth says that she's cold and wants to go back to the car. Abby says, well, you can't because I locked the car. And Elizabeth gives her the 9th degree for locking the car and accuses her of being crazy. Who leaves their car unlocked and just walks around? Abby spots a plaque on the gazebo saying that the gazebo was donated by Bob Genesis. So we've got a dumbass last name now.
Kid's name is Jesse Genesis. That's straight up a porno name.
So they get back to the car, and Elizabeth has another vision. And Abby wants to know where to go next. And Elizabeth asks, are you sure? There's a lot of twists and turns and wrong turns and U-turns. And Abby says, okay, let's hit the road, Jack. Elizabeth goes, oh, don't call me Jack. It reminds me of that creepy guy from Jack and the Beanstalk. I don't like fairy tales in general. Hansel and Gretel. Oh, this is so creepy. Sweet Jesus, woman. Whatever dose of Ritalin you're supposed to be taking, triple it.
Kira Sedgwick Ash, the closer ass motherfucker right here.
Meanwhile,
what creepy guy from Jack and the Beanstalk?
Jack?
The giant? Jack?
Don't call me Jack. It reminds me of that creepy guy from Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah.
You know,
creepy
the hero of the story.
Yo.
Meanwhile, Jesse beats the shit out of
Danny.
Danny. And wait, no. He doesn't beat the shit out of Danny. He beats the shit out of the couch in the living room and gets his new red belt. I just automatically assumed.
That same like official is looking on, just like nodding. Yeah.
So, in the kitchen, Abby paints the birdhouse by herself and does a terrible job. She calls in Jesse and shows him, and he gives her a look, and then he hugs her, and he motions for her to follow him, and they go up to the Christmas tree that he's adorned with all his previous belts. And she says, "Well, you've only got one to go before black," and they run upstairs. Back at the office, Abby's boss, Charles, confronts her for missing the big applesauce meeting. She just ditched the meeting. So the parable of the story is you need to stop being such a shitty wife and mother and just be a shitty employee.
Yeah. Find no balance whatsoever.
The moral of the story. Balance is impossible.
Tip the fucking scales.
What's this dude's deal, though? Like, it sounds like things went well.
Yeah.
And he's still being a dick about it.
Well, that's why she getting fired.
She says that she had a family emergency, and he ridicules her horrendous birdhouse and says, "You should leave that shit at home." He tells her that
would you like to learn it, or do you want me to do it for you?
He tells her that she can't miss these critical meetings. She says, "Well, it's a tough time. It's Christmas. And it very may well be. I lost track of how many days of transition, considering we only had 5 until Christmas. This could be the day after Christmas for all we know."
She's doing pitches like the day before Christmas.
For applesauce.
Yeah, applesauce pitches, the big applesauce account?
For a marketing campaign for Christmas.
Damn, quick turnaround on that one.
Wrap your mind around that.
Well, I mean, in the greeting card industry that I worked on, yeah, we did it a year ahead, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I refuse to give the movie that much credit.
He tells her that she's usually the most work-first person in the office, and she asks him if he's ever felt like he's missed out on life. Back at the dojo, Jesse's once again trouncing this poor kid, and we see that he's got his brown belt now. Back with Elizabeth.
Like, dude, what if that... he beat the kid and then that Nigerian funeral shit started.
Oh, man.
That'd be fantastic.
So in the midst of all this terrible moviness, the best thing in the world happened to me.
Yeah.
An entire meme popped up that's all smash cuts to funerals.
Yeah, Sean's favorite movie trope is now a very popular meme, and he couldn't be happier.
Just the dude
Smash cut
definitely
the funeral.
got killed by a tiger.
Yeah. They don't get old either, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
The ones where they like cut to the guys in the middle of the video. Like they're just sitting there anticipating. So good, God. Dude.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
What do you call that meme? Because I'm having a hard time finding them.
I think I typed in like Nigerian funeral dancers or whatever.
Okay.
I found them. No. Okay. Back with Elizabeth. Once again, I can't do another one of her goddamn holiday law parables. This was the worst one. By far the worst one. She's looking dead straight into the camera. And she's talking about Frosty and how salt is hazardous waste to him, but it's not to the other people of the town. And does Frosty have a legitimate lawsuit? Sweet shit. Abby comes in and asks her what professor lectures via Skype on Christmas Eve day. First of all, no one says Christmas Eve day. It's Christmas Eve, and I've had it with this horseshit movie. These people should be electroshocked for the good of mankind.
Agreed.
Two, she's lecturing to a YouTube video of tribal people who can't hear her or see her because it's a video.
Or understand her, most likely.
Maybe she's got a psychic link to him.
They're completely remote. She says this, like the government doesn't let outsiders in.
I damn near gave up watching the movie at this point.
It was baffling.
Abby says...
She's just like yelling American criminal law at these native people that don't give a fuck. They're just like fishing or something.
It might as well be you yelling at those Nigerian funeral goers, trying to tell them about how much you love their memes. They can't hear you.
The music is loud. They are dancing.
I got a question. Turns out that I'm 1% Nigerian, so can I have a funeral like that?
Sure.
I don't see why not.
I mean, it's in my DNA.
As long as we smash cut to it.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So, Abby says that Elizabeth needs to help her finish this. She says that she feels close to Elizabeth now, and then Elizabeth has another vision. And Eric Roberts says, "There's times I'm afraid of making the wrong choice." He picks up a gun, and he says, "I'd like to take this with me to the firing range, because it reminds me of what you taught me." Elizabeth snaps out of it and asks, what has James Whitmore taught her? Another vision. Bob says, he's stronger than all of us put together. Graham says, Aurora, Daddy's little girl. Aurora calls out to him, help me to help you. Graham says, some is as it seems, and some is not. This is me, and this is real. If I'm not here, then I'm not real. Where'd they get this dialogue? The opening cinematic of a Final Fantasy game?
I can't wait to see this movie.
Aurora wakes up in the hospital with Bob standing over her. Elizabeth snaps out of it again, and she needs a drink. We all need a drink at this point. She tells Abby she saw Bob in the hospital with Aurora. Elizabeth draws the conclusion that Bob is alive. They need to go back to the bar because that's where they're going to find their Christmas future. So later at the bar, Abby's Abby's getting impatient. Where was I? Abby's getting impatient because they've been there for an hour and nothing's happened. Then Elizabeth looks around and says, oh, we might be here for my Christmas future. And she spots Mark, her ex-fiancé, across the bar, alive and well. She runs up and starts asking him questions, and Mark's wife, sitting next to him, introduces herself. Mark excuses them as they need to get home to their son because it's 5 days after Christmas at this point. Abby says that it's great news that Mark's alive, and Elizabeth says, well, it's not great news for you. She says that if Mark's alive, then Bob is dead because psychics.
Why does it mean that? Why does anything mean that?
Because I always vision Mark to be dead and Bob to be alive. So Mark's alive, vis-a-vis, Bob is dead.
It's pretty sound logic.
Yeah.
So they hear Bob's voice in the distance and start to search the back of the bar. And they bang on the men's room door, but some different man comes out. So Elizabeth tells Abby that she's sorry about her visions being incorrect, and she thinks that Bob just wanted Abby and Jesse to see all the good things that he's done and that he's in a good place now. Abby says that Bob has left her and Jesse with his love, and that Elizabeth helped her realize that, and that her life with Jesse is the most important thing in the world.
I don't remember any of this.
And Elizabeth says that Abby's a good mother, and Abby invites Elizabeth to come to Christmas dinner and have it with her and Jesse because her parents are going to be in town. And she says that, well, my parents are visiting too, so I'm going to have Christmas with them. She says, well, you should come over in the afternoon when Jesse gets his black belt in the middle of the day on Christmas Day.
Well, he's giving it to himself, so pretty much...
yeah.
Oh, no, someone else gives it to him.
Oh, you know.
That night...
You got an issue with that, too.
That night, the family sits around the dining table, and they're watching Jesse do push-ups. And all Jesse has to do... Worst Christmas ever.
Yes, this Christmas sucks shit. Instead of watching a nice fire, like drinking hot cocoa, I gotta watch a 10-year-old do push-ups.
So all Jesse has to do is break a board in the presence of his family and absolutely no authority or martial arts at all present.
No official representative of karate.
He'll be done with his journey and he'll be able to speak again. So they argue about who's going to hold the board.
So they found the thickest goddamn board they can find.
Everybody's scared to hold the board because he's dangerous now.
Because he's so fucking dangerous. He might burst you open from the inside. So Abby says that I'm going to be the one to hold it. So she holds it up, and Jesse winds up and brings his elbow down and breaks the board. And the second he does, through the back fucking door, Bob walks in.
I lost my shit.
Everyone is dumbfounded. Jesse runs up and embraces his father. Bob exclaims, "I'm home! I'm home!" And he puts Jesse's black belt on him, saying that he earned this and you brought me back.
Hold on.
And
the black belt in karate puts the black belt on the kid incorrectly.
They all surround Bob and embrace him, and Abby says, this is a miracle, a true Christmas miracle. And then the movie ends. No, you don't get to end there. You do not get to end there.
But it did.
You don't get to end there. You don't get to end there.
There was, I believe it was ADR, but he said he escaped. Did you hear this?
No, I don't want to.
He says, "I'm home. I escaped."
Jesus Christ!
From where? Bitch, Carol Baskins? What?
Oh my God!
I was certain it was going to turn out that Bob was the shooter and that he was a maniac and he was going to come back and kill them all or do something. And I was watching. There was 3 minutes left. Like, something's going to fucking happen. And the goddamn credits started rolling.
I mean, in my opinion, the previous scene was the climax. It was like she learns that, like, what's important to her and makes a friend. And then like she has to, they finally have to confront he's gone and they move on and shit. Like, that's the end of a movie. Not like and like all the things were going through my head, like was Jesse part of some MK Ultra program? Was Bob the shooter? Was Eric Roberts like the future version of Jesse who becomes a maniac? Was Jesse actually the shooter? I don't know. I mean, the implication is that Jesse has some kind of psychic powers, right?
Clearly.
Oh God, I don't know.
Oh boy. I mean, he had to, like, I knew he would come back. The movie's called a Karate Christmas Miracle. It's not called like a crazy homeless man on 34th Street.
I don't know.
But
like, oh my God.
I've been confounded by movies we've watched before, but this one...
I after everything, watching the quote-unquote black belt, grab the belt, wrap it around the kid the wrong way, and then not even tie it correctly. I was like, of course. They couldn't even just look that up.
I didn't even notice how he did it. Did he just like fold it over like he was starting to tie his shoe and call it a day?
Yeah, exactly. But he didn't wrap it around. He didn't start at the front. He started at the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then he brought it around and just like you said, halfway tied up a shoe. Like just crossed the things and tightened it once, and that was it. I did want to say, I did shit on karate a lot, but I did in my research, I did find a few videos of jiu-jitsu coaches giving themselves promotions, which is utterly ridiculous.
I mean, there's going to be shenanigans within any martial art.
Within any. It's just, jiu-jitsu is so hard to fake. But, yeah, they have, like, this guy who's a brown belt, and he's just teaching at his own school, and he says, "You know what? I think I've earned this," and he pulls out his black belt, and everybody just kind of like awkwardly claps, but can't fucking do that shit. I would have immediately quit. I'm out of here.
It'd have been worse if he said, "You know what? I've earned this," and he pulls out the red belt. It's a little inside jujitsu humor.
Yes.
You can't get a red belt.
No. If your last
It's
name's not
reserved for the
Gracie,
Gracie brothers.
So there's a bit of trivia here that at the time of the movie's shooting, the 10-year-old child star, Mario Del Vecchio, was a real-life blue belt in karate. Now, he is beyond that.
I guess so. All it took was a couple months and $300. Boom, black belt.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Wow. I thought this would be like a light one, a fun little light one, but things got well, this is a pretzel right here.
Well, I got it all figured out. Not the movie, but why the movie was made. Little Mario there gets whatever he wants around the Del Vecchio household. And he started karate. He started believing the hype, and he said, "Dad, I want to have like a Karate Kid movie." And the dad, he's actually projecting his shitty parenting by having the woman be a shitty parent. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Well, I'll just take, half of a movie that I've already done a few years back. I'll throw you in it, and now, boom, you're the next Karate Kid." Just so the kid wouldn't throw a tantrum. And he ate his chocolate ice cream before bed.
That is a perfectly reasonable theory.
Good God.
That's why the trivia exists, that the kid was a blue belt and now he's beyond, because the kid was like, "Make sure everybody knows I got promoted since the movie was made."
I was so ill prepared for this movie.
Oh, I wasn't thinking anything like this.
I'm coming off of having my emotions crushed by Onward.
Oh my God!
And then this.
I still haven't done it yet. I'm
a broken man.
Yeah, this is.
And the thing was, I was ready for Onward to be sad, but I wasn't ready.
No.
I was like, "Damn, y'all gonna do that? Shit!"
No spoilers for Onward. It's too new.
No, but still, I was like, "You fucking soulless bastards!"
I know. Pixar, why?
Oh man.
Anyway, we do have some business to take care of, even though this one didn't count.
Do we?
Because I have to announce my actual pick.
Oh yeah.
As we continue on with our regular season. So, I went back and tried to find something. I wanted to find at least a classic player from movies past.
Okay.
And I found one. So I said, you know what? I think we need more swords and sandals.
Nice.
Okay. I especially think we need more creamy carotene thighs.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Does it have a baby lizard with a sword?
Possibly. I don't know. I haven't watched it. John, see if you know what this is.
Okay.
We're going to be watching the 1978 sword and sandals martial arts-esque movie Circle of Iron, a.k.a. The Silent Flute. Tagline.
A.k.a. The Skin Flute.
Tagline. It challenges your courage, tests your manhood, and throws you into an arena of life and death.
That's a skin flute, all right.
Rated R. It's a bit of a longer one. It's an hour and 42 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
Son of a bitch. Who has an hour and 40 minutes?
5 stars on IMDb. A surprising 4 stars on Amazon, but 43% on Rotten Tomatoes. with a budget of an estimated $4 million. Directed by Richard Moore, who was the cinematographer on Wild Angels and Annie, starring David Carradine in a 4-part role as the Blind Man, Monkey Man, Death, and Changsha.
Whoa.
Jeff Cooper as Cord, who's the hero of the movie. Christopher Lee as Zeton, the wizard. Roddy McDowall as White Robe. And Eli Wallach as Man in Oil.
Yo, this is a star-studded affair right here.
Reviews. The more you see, the deeper it gets. Strangeness abound. And a dreadfully pretentious martial arts adventure. Started by Bruce Lee and finished in more ways than one by David Carradine.
Aye, aye, aye.
Here's the trivia. Originally written by Bruce Lee with the intention of him starring as the quad role, the role of Cord was offered to Steve McQueen. He turned it down. There was a bunch of disputes with Bruce Lee about where to film this thing, so production shut down, and then he died. And then David Carradine bought the rights to it and decided he was going to play Bruce Lee's part.
Has all the makings for a terrible fucking movie.
Yeah. So, synopsis. A young martial artist, Cord the Seeker, competes for and loses the right to go on a quest for the Book of All Knowledge, written by the wizard Zeton. But he goes along the path to seek Zeton anyway, so I don't know what all that fucking testing was.
Oh, you mean I could just go anyway? All right, well, that's what I'm going to do.
Along the way, he meets strange tests and is challenged by enemies and allies, often having difficulty determining which is which. Fingers crossed for another Yojimbo. A little bit extra trivia. During filming, David Carradine broke his nose twice.
Nice.
And the flute that David Carradine plays.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. Also, the flute that Carradine's character, the Blind Man, plays is the same flute that he plays in Kill Bill Volume 2.
Oh, cool.
Hey.
That's interesting.
So there's that. Originally, I was going to pick another movie starring Malibu, but this one looked better, so you can thank me for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Where he played this rough and tumble, plays by his own rules cop.
Jesus Christ.
Malibu?
But still looks exactly like Malibu. Those color changed visor sunglasses and all.
Yeah, does he still have the hair?
Oh yeah. That hair doesn't come off. He's like Samson.
Oh my god. I want to see him just in a like a buttoned up police uniform with that hair.
Oh no, he doesn't wear a police uniform. He plays by his own rules.
So
I play by my own rules.
Is
bro.
Malibu still alive, or is he one that met a tragic end?
I think he's still kicking it, I'm pretty sure.
Wonder if he's still got the hair.
Well, he was in that Curb episode, right? So like he's
Yeah, he was just in that.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, he's got to be still doing stuff. I'm sure he's still doing stuff. Darren McBee?
Yeah, I think that was it, huh?
Yeah, he's still alive. He's 58. I mean,
still out there playing by his own rules, brah.
Yeah. He was Motaro in Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
That was him, wasn't it? Who knew?
On IMDb, he has an upcoming, 2 upcoming projects. The Mystic Film Crew. Mystic ninjas, they came from the past, help those in need. That's word for word what it says.
Okay.
There's nothing else on it. No date, no nothing. So.
Well, all right.
He's doing something, I guess.
Malibu's up to something.
But we ain't watching that. We're watching Carradine Thighs.
Anthony DeLongis is in this too. The guy that played Blade in the He-Man movie.
Oh, hey, there we go.
Yeah.
It's got stuff going for it. Hopefully it'll have a little lizard with a little knife.
That would be amazing. I want the lizard to come back.
We need more Gila Monster consiglieres. So, yeah, Circle of Iron. It's on both Amazon Prime and on Tubi. Did anybody have any problems watching Tubi?
No.
No, it's just a couple of ad breaks, I guess, but...
I didn't have a single ad break.
I had one.
I guess it's random.
That's a weird business strategy.
Business model you got going into it.
We'll randomly show your ads.
So
I liked when I was downloading it, like the description of the app, it was like touting that it has a larger library than Netflix. I'm like, calm down, Tubi.
yeah, it's all movies we would watch.
I understand the Velocipaster's on there, so if you don't have Prime and you've been itching to see it,
There you go.
head over to Tubi.
Yeah, that is an actual good movie.
Oh, Lord. Okay. So, you know what? Just for shits and giggles, say something nice.
Oh boy. Oh no.
Wow.
The camera quality was crisp.
I'm gonna try to. I'm really gonna. Can I come up with something good? Can I come up with something good? I don't think. I really can't.
I mean, like, I'll say that there were moments where the lighting looked professional.
In which movie?
In both of them. In both of them. There was a mood, like you could you can tell that they were from separate movies. Like there was clearly a different feel. So somebody had an idea of what appropriate, how the film should look. But anyway. Ooh.
Sorry, I got nothing.
That's not the game, Blake.
I can't think of anything.
Say something nice about the martial arts.
Yeah, right. Shit.
You got
it was nice that they threw Cobra Kai guy a bone and got him paid.
That wasn't from this movie, though.
Shit.
I'm sure he had to have collected a check from it, though.
Yeah.
Dude, I have nothing. Sorry.
There really is nothing nice to say about this movie.
The sound engineer had a good day. I don't know.
You know what? Hats off to little Davey for being such a good sport about it all.
Being what a champ.
Yeah.
Showed up every day to get his fucking ass kicked.
Thank you for listening to Garbage Theater. As always, you can find us online at facebook.com/Garbage Theater, on Twitter at Garbage_Theater, and on Instagram at Garbage_Theater. If you'd care to leave us a review on iTunes, we would very much appreciate it. And if you have a movie suggestion or just want to reach out to us, you can contact us on any of our social channels or email us directly at garbagetheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all the latest episodes and happenings. Good night, and see you next time, folks.